And the thing about So Handy is he never once said that he cared about humanity to the point of prayers and against meaning carrying on the lineage in a new world and having Senate committee. The most he thought of was the fact that after things are over in the earth and there's a new world creation according to the holy tabernacle and all the things righteous, holy, pure, and all the things like it and such sorts, then he thought angels will populate the cities and the streets and the areas or something along the lines of nature of what already was. And that's the most he could think of and see. He never once considered the fact that maybe, somebody else supposed to do this, but not me. And he didn't never thought about that. And if he did, he didn't keep it long enough for the grief because he looked at his own arms and his own legs and said, yep, I'm the one for it, if so. So he didn't give a dang or a dut, excuse me saying, mama, it Fazo, if you will. He didn't care one time that people would carry on the lineage of Sayete, but he did say that if somebody else was here, then I'd fight him arbitrarily. And when he did, he won in his own sight, but he stayed. And that's the only problem he had. When he won in his own sight, he stayed in the ring, and held everything else in ace. So he kept adding extra rounds to something that was already over, no matter what. And that's the only problem we here for, and that's the only thing that you can see in the Geist. He never stopped punching, even after it was over, and the referee was finished, and all the law enforcement was dispatched to the stage, and everything else was goodness. And that's the way it was. But he ain't never say he was the one who should have did it, or been it. He ain't never say he was supposed to bring everybody else up to the clinics or the royal tennis. So somebody else had already had a fate to do it since before they was born. And that's it. And some people had a fate to do things that's similar, but it's not. And that's all I can tell you. And ran over Israel. Because angels don't have to be explained to but one time. And they understand things. But if you keep explaining the same thing to an angel, it's weird for us all. Except for them, because they go run and joke about you instead. And that's it. And so when I finish talking, I finish bangling. But I will tell you one thing. Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. can fly, teleport, and go anywhere else through space-time or anything else like it. But it will all be guided, monitored, and righteously conducted according to order, structure, and integrity of all righteous hawk trickles and anything that's like righteous top growths in the new kingdom of all heavenly gain and all things above it, no matter what. And so he'll always have it and royal dadge. But he always has enemies, but he has absolutely no problem, fighting for fun and jazz, but in a righteous stat. But if y'all say he got to fight to die, it's weird and awkward, because righteous text is the opposite of death, and it means you ain't the one chosen for the goblet. It means you ain't supposed to die the way man does, because you ain't did the same thing that man does, and if you ain't do what man does, then you ain't supposed to die. Excuse me, you ain't supposed to die like Gatos and Nacianos, and everybody else was that. And Ranjo Kilmanjays, and anything else was Hellies. And I was finished, but I ain't know the difference between necks and everything else was Kelly's. And that was it. But righteousness has a lotto, but it never has a limit. And the old world is finished, but it's just standing because I'm looking at it for something different that you all not supposed to witness. But the righteous Tanaj is always there. But if somebody in the earth was not esteemed as royalty or anything of that nature, then they would not be seen accurately if they were royal in the afterlife above all human nature. And so nobody would respect them and nobody would care what they saying or who they was until after they see something different than what they was able to see and understand their own perspective and mind sonar pictures. And when they can see these things, then they'll care. But if they cannot see what you see or what somebody who loves you see or vice versa, then they're not going to stare long enough to get understanding of what they need to be aware of in the first place. And so if people are there and nobody else is there, then they're not trying to do anything different but to scare somebody else. into something else that they said they didn't care about or was not aware or see to unsure, and peace around their mongols. And so the end of the world came quickly, suddenly, and it was no televised chiate for it, and that's the way it shall be. But the end of the world was so smooth and sweet for those who've been through a storm that God, if you will, said, don't keep hand-horn T-pie raised past the point of CRA sorts. And it means that these people, places, and things are instantly resolute. And they're resolute into the positions they're supposed to be in. Now, every time I make these recordings, I've always been in a better position in life in previous months, all the way back. Today is November the 6th or 7th, the 8th actually, I'm sorry. It's the 8th of 2023. And I am not in the good position that I normally would be in. Normally I got everything going for me, but today is not like the rest of the days. And so I do these every year, all year, throughout the year, every month, every week, when I can. But this one go end everything for the simple fact that it's been 13 years, if you will. After 13 years, and nobody else ever told me I was in the scrap. And when they never told me that, I ain't never expect anything related to the situation. But if they would have said that I was finished with terminal oxygen SAK duty, I would have looked them in the face and told them the same thing they told me yesterday, backwards, and with Judy. Because any Ken's my way so cold can't tell you one thing about Eli Rajo Nese, is that he is somebody who never tells you anything about his own identity or personality. So he says, look, and check the sway index. And that's the only thing I say for real Tenanek. A real Tenanek. That's for the K-Cock and also for the Remani Seiko moments and everything else like it or in between it and above it and before it and underneath it and anything like Sorit or Orbit or Comet Creature, whatever going on in the system under speech it for always. And that's the way things will be and always can be. But Eli Reno is the only source that can be, because he's the only one with the infinite tiate etos naturally. But if you say something bad about it, then it'll become catastrophe. And that's it for the justice. And that's it. Ren Justo in city.